mirror screen, so everything that you're gonna see here,
Yeah,
everything
it's shown. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, you're right. Because people come from other. Oh, some of them
Yeah.
from other.
I'm glad Tamer came.
I just have to say hello to friends. Yes.
On attend ça jouer, évidemment. Bah, on est déjà un petit peu en retard.
Whenever you're ready, you can start.
Yeah.
1:55 it has to end.
Okay.
5 minutes earlier, we give you a sign so you know you have 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. I think we. Is it okay if we leave like time for questions at 45 and then take a few questions, or you want us to finish at
Wait a
50?
few minutes before so we can,
Yeah. At
and
55 you need to finish.
55, 57,
Okay. Okay.
around there.
Okay. Il faut essayer de finir à 50-55 quoi pour le timing en tout cas. Ouais. Faut commencer, oui. On va commencer.
Euh, c'est plus facile pour toi d'être là ou là tu vois l'écran là.
Là je verrai rien.
Ouais.
Alors de toute façon
Ok.
moi je me base sur en fait je me base
Oui,
sur
oui,
le-
oui. Ok. Bon appétit. Non, c'est bien. Il faut travailler pour manger et boire ici. Ciao, come stai? Ci vediamo dopo. Hi. Hello, everybody. I think we'll start, maybe? Yeah? Okay. So, a warm welcome to everybody, and thank you very much for being here. Thank you to the Thessaloniki Book Fair and to NOPI in particular. My name is Olivia, and I'm here with my colleagues Persa and Gabriel. We're all involved with the LEILA website that we'll be presenting you with today. So just as a point of departure, as you probably know, the Arab world is vast, and it stretches from Mauritania in the west to Oman in the east. And the literature is as diverse as its geography. And so much of this richness has yet to be translated into European languages. And there are many reasons for this, beginning with the fact that most editors at European publishing houses don't read in Arabic. So they rely on translators, for the most part, to pitch them a work. So translators working from Arabic into other languages act as scouts and as agents. Then there's the problem of the cost of translation, because very few countries in the Arab world have translation grants, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So finding out about this literature is not easy for European editors, not to mention the fact that it's also very difficult to find out who the rights holders are. So in the Arab world, this can get very vague. Is it an agent? Is it the author? Is it the publisher? So the idea behind the LEILA website was really to facilitate the job for European publishers and editors who are interested in bringing this literature into their languages. And to put together the website, we have a jury of usually translators, but they can also be writers and editors. And they were as diverse as possible, and we'll get into that also, to present a wide variety of contemporary literature from the Arab world. And Gabrielle will show you the website, but just before that, I wanted to say that LEILA was founded in 2020 by IREMO, a think tank based in Paris, Beaux-Arts, an international cultural venue in Brussels, and Atlas, where Gabrielle works, which is an organization for literary translation based in Arles, in the south of France. The non-profit Literature Across Frontiers, run by Alexandra Büchler, based in Wales, who presented this morning, was involved in commissioning the research papers, which are on the site, on the publication of books translated from Arabic into 10 European countries. We were initially funded by the EU's Creative Europe program, and now the French Institute and their program Livre des Deux Rives has taken over the funding. The website is run by Atlas, and the Agence Carcadet, which is a new agency promoting culture in the Mediterranean, is responsible for the promotion. And just before Gabrielle shows you the website, I wanted to introduce you to Persa Kumutsi, who is an award-winning translator from Arabic to Greek since 1991. So she is really the person who brought Arabic literature to Greece. And she began an initiative called Greek and Arabic Literature to train translators that has a laboratory of language and politics at the Ionian University, which is the translation university. Yeah. And she's also an author, and she promotes intercultural dialogue through literature and translation. And she's also been working a lot on poetry lately. And Gabriel Tatiboué-Sadki works at Atlas, where he's in charge, he's the liaison between Livre des Deux Rives and the translation program, and he translates from Arabic to French. So perhaps you can show us a bit the website so people get an idea of it.
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you everyone for being here. So I'll show you some of the main content on our website. So first of all, the website is designed for publishers, European publishers. So you can find a lot of resources about Arabic literature on this website. You have a few reports which have been written for the project about Arabic literature, about different genres, but also about Arabic literature in different markets, so in different countries and regions. So you can find here a lot of information about Arabic literature in translation in various European countries.
These are the reports that we mentioned that Alexandra Büchler commissioned, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But also information about translation grants, if you're a publisher willing to publish Arabic literature, or literature websites and awards, and so on. So this is the first thing you can find on LEILA. You can also find the catalog, which is really the main part of the website. The catalog is divided in two categories, books and authors. So there are slightly more authors than books. You can find about 90 authors on the website. Can you see? Yeah, you can see. So here, for example, if I'm on the author web page, you can find a list of these authors. But for example, for each one of them, you can find essential information, a contact, or the agent contact, and selected by biography and eventual articles on website, online articles and prize information about prizes and awards. So this is one way to navigate through the website. With Rasha Abbas, you can find a title which is also on the catalog, the gist of it, and you can go on this page, and which presents all the information about this book. So a quick summary: there is a translation samples. You can find on the website about 40 original translation samples into various languages. So here you can find a sample of this book in Italian, translated by Cristina Dosio. And recently, thanks to the Livre des Deux Rives funded, we've been added 10 new books on the website, all with French translation sample available for each book. So here you find all the essential information about this book, also the contact of the author or author's agent.
Yeah, and if I can just add,
Yeah,
this was
sure.
one of the most difficult parts for me as an editor, because it's so hard in the Arab world to find out who owns the rights. This is one of the most difficult, the biggest challenges for editors. Yeah.
So yeah, the goal of this catalog is really to present to publishers crucial information, so that you can get also it can get quite easy for you as publishers to translate this book or get the right contact. So this is one way to navigate through the catalog. But one thing which is really important for you to find information, or to find a book, a precise book or author, is to use the tags. You can find here category, genre, country, and publishing year. This is very helpful if you want to publish, for example, a Libyan author, or if you are interested in a certain genre. So this is one very useful way to navigate through the catalog. And also, so that I'll finish with this quick presentation, you can find on the main page focuses on different topics or thematics. You can see here one focus on family, childhood, and identity. So we've added another focus recently on Palestinian literature, and you can find other focuses. So this is another way to go through all the books which are presented on the website. So this is the first idea.
Thank you. So perhaps we can go back a little bit, and Persa, you can give us a background about the situation of books translated from Arabic into Greek and what the market is like here.
First of all, I would like to thank you for coming. I'm very happy that I'm with my colleagues. And I just wanted to add, before I answer your question, that all the people involved in this project, we are about 20 of us from different parts of Europe. We have one common issue, one common ideal, to shatter the prejudice that still prevails concerning Arabic literature, because there is a lot of prejudice, and many, as Olivia said, many publishers hear about Arabic literature, but they think that it is something really different from any other kind of literature of the world. So I think the major role of this site is to facilitate and enhance this idea of universality, of the universality of Arabic literature, which to me is very important, as I have been working professionally since the 1900s, 1990, sorry, not 1900s, I wouldn't be. My grandfather wasn't born, 1990. But I've been reading literature, Arabic literature, since my teenage years. I was born in an Arabic country, so my first readings were actually Arabic readings, not my language, not Greek readings. And I'm very much enchanted by this literature. So I can assure that it is as equal, as great as any other literature in the world, if not better. Why? Because, as Olivia mentioned, it is composed of 22 countries. Every country has its own cultural background, historical background, battles to give, and literature, of course, is varied and very different from each other. So only this element makes it really one step ahead of any other. This is as far as the background of the story. I'm very happy to be working with these people, and as I said, best of all is this feeling of common ideals and purpose, which is nowadays very, very important. As far as my experience, as I said, it's been 30 plus years professional. I've been working as a professional translator. I gave up my teaching profession and everything else because to concentrate on Arabic literature. I've done over 60 titles, a lot of poetry, which I consider very important. Poetry is very important in the Arabic world. Poetry is the soft weapon to express the grievances. Poetry is the means of expressing social things, social changes, love, disappointment, everything. All aspects of life are expressed through poetry as well. So poetry is as important as, but we are concentrating on prose right now. I don't know what to say. It's a long process. The more I work on Arabic literature, the more I love it, the more I admire it, the more I become more humane. It has affected my own personality, my own perspective of what life is and what I might be as a human being. Therefore, the last 20 years or more, I've been, except for my translation work, I've done a lot of work on promoting the intercultural dialogue between East and West, being born in a country which is not European, which is Arabic. I absorbed a lot of ideals, a lot of much of the mentality of the Arab world. I absorbed it and I made it, I used it to create some sort of identity that combines both Eastern and Western ideals. And this experience in itself wanted to make it, to write about it, and therefore all my writings, also my personal writings, are about this intercultural thing. Going back to LEILA, I think that LEILA is a project that has a huge prospect ahead of it. And I wish we had such a project in Greece to promote Greek writers, because we're not really known in Europe and elsewhere. We need some kind of promotion of this kind. I'm very happy, and I would like to continue with you.
But Persa, can you, just before you pass it to Gebra, can you tell us a little bit, because you were one of the first translators from you were the first translator from Arabic to Greek, and how, you know, what has that been like? Because you've built up now other translators, and I believe some are in the audience, but who translate from Arabic to Greek. So have you seen an increased interest in this literature?
Huge increase of interest in the last 10 to 15 years. After the Syrian problem, it started rising, people wanted to know. And now, of course, with the Palestinian thing, every single publisher asks about Arabic literature, and they are interested in Palestinian literature in particular, but in general Arabic literature as well. There's a huge difference between then and now. We have more translators. In my I created an initiative called Greek and Arabic Literature and Culture. We're trying, as Olivia said, to create a new generation of translators. One of my students, and a very excellent translator who has been independent now and working on her own, is Vicky, is here. And I wish we had funds, everyone, to do the work as was supposed to, but okay, we're happy.
Thank you. Gabrielle, can you give us an idea perhaps of the Arabic translations in the French market and how where you see that going?
Yeah, of course. I think we are facing an interesting time in France at the time because obviously one of the main publishing house for the Arabic literature was Actes Sud for many years with its collection Sinbad. And like 10 years ago, Sinbad was publishing about 20 books a year, something like that. Not only translation, but also books in French, but a lot of translations. Since then, it has severely decreased. Now, in Sinbad, I think they publish like 4 books a year, something like that. So this is a huge trend for the French market. But at the same time, you have smaller publishing houses that are interested in Arabic literature. So this is very interesting. And either creating new collections. For example, I can mention two new collections from last year or 2 years ago. One of them is Khamsa. So it's a collection about literature from Maghreb, which published. So it's also a co-edition between Barzakh, which is in Algeria, and Philippe Rey, which is in France. So this is a very interesting collection. And they published, I think, at the time, 3 books, and will be publishing a 4th book this year. Another one is Kambourakis, which published a lot of foreign literature and recently created collection of Arabic literature last year. They didn't translate new books yet, but they've been re-editing books so far. I know they are willing to translate new books this year or next year. And also we can notice that editors are integrating Arabic authors in their catalog and not creating specific collection, but just introducing it as part of their general collection, which is very important. As you said, Persa, that Arabic literature is part of world literature and foreign literature, and not just a specific kind of literature. So there are very interesting tendencies.
Yeah, I think Gallimard published 2 or even 3 books from Arabic this year, which is quite astonishing. And then there's Le Bruit du Monde, an independent publisher in Marseille, which had great success. I don't know if there are any Italian publishers here. Oh, yes, there are. But they published a book by Mohammed Al-Nas, who is a Libyan author and who had great success in France. And I think, for example, for Italian publishers, it's very interesting because you have the whole colonial aspect, sometimes just very discreetly, but it's still very, very interesting. And yeah.
Maybe Persa, you want
Yes, I just wanted to add something you mentioned. Small publishing houses are very interested in learning about Arabic literature. So now this LEILA is helping them to have an idea of searching and finding and being helped, of course, because small publishers usually have a problem with promoting and funding and etc. So
yeah, we can talk about funding,
yes,
which is also very important. But just before that, I think, Gabrielle, you have a few statistics on successes that publishers who have found books on LEILA. I mean, I know I was witness to a very nice scene in Sharjah where a Ukrainian publisher had just published an Egyptian book that she found on the LEILA website. And I know there's a British publisher who's about to publish or sign a contract for also an Egyptian author that he found on the LEILA website. But you have some other...
Yeah, that's right. Just before that, I wanted to add about the LEILA project, and the idea is also to rely on translators are experts of Arabic literature. And so the idea is really to rely on their work, and all or nearly all the content you can see on the website is written by translators themselves. So that's what we're doing when we are adding new books on the website. We are commissioning book notice, author notices, and translation samples from translators. So the idea is also to create a network for us and for publishers. And you can find, I think it's very important information, you can find all the information about the contributors, and you can find many translators from Arabic to various languages. So this can be very helpful. And so your question was about the results of LEILA. I have some information. I'm currently gathering information about the success of LEILA. I have a lot of information from Italy, actually. Especially from one publishing house, Emuse. I don't know how to say. Yeah. Okay. So.
It concentrates on Mediterranean area.
So they have translated Nejwa bin Chetwan, who is a Libyan author, and actually there's quite an interesting trend with Libyan literature. I think a lot of editors, even in the Arab world, I think, were ignorant of Libya or Libyan literature, and there is an increasing interest about this literature. So a few books from Nejwa bin Chetwan have been translated recently into Italian. I'm very happy because I'm currently contacted by editors recently from America or from Greece. So yeah, we're seeing at the time very interesting results. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So funding, that's a big problem, I know. And so we tried to put on the website, perhaps you can go to the page where we provide some opportunities for funding, because this is, of course, very important for publishers. And perhaps, Persa, you can speak a little bit about going about funding. Yeah.
Funding is important, especially in countries with very small audience. Greece is a very small country with a very small audience. It's very difficult for after we have gone all this crisis, the economic crisis, of course, we endured all the results. For publishers, especially medium to small publishers, but even big ones, I mean big publishers or traditional publishers, very difficult to feel that they are safe with choosing titles without having some sort of guarantee or some sort of to at least cover the expenses, because the expenses are huge. And if the audience of Arabic literature is a small audience, and this is what we are trying to do, we are trying to build a bigger audience. They have to go together, these two parameters, funding and creating a stronger readership. And LEILA, on one hand, helps on both sides, help both the funding books that are really very interesting. They are not funding books that are not readable.
But we don't fund, but we provide the information.
Provide information to people who are working to fund books, and we have already on the verge of publishing such books in Greece, too, which is very important. And building on a stronger audience that would be there to read consistently Arabic literature. So this is what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's interesting because we can talk about the jury afterwards, but for the website, yes, I interviewed members of the jury, and there's in Finland, there's, I think, one translator from Arabic to Finnish called Samsa Peltonen, and he talks about how because he's the only one, he has to create a sort of body of literature from Arabic, and it's very difficult to choose, you know, what should people be reading, how he should build these readers and books to translate, because there has to be some sort of coherence, and if he wants to build up an audience of readers, it's a big responsibility. And you may or may not know, but the Egyptians write so much and they produce so much that, you know, how to sort of balance it out with perhaps one Egyptian author, a Libyan author, or even a Mauritanian author. And on the LEILA website, for example, we have a couple of jury members who have proposed books from sub-Saharan Africa that are written in Arabic, which is more rare and people don't know about, and the reality is completely different. So we have someone from South Sudan, there are, you know, various people. So this is a responsibility sometimes in these smaller language areas.
LEILA has given visibility to these people, which is also one of the very important things that LEILA has we have managed, or LEILA has succeeded in that, to give visibility to writers that are not very famous or do not have access to how do you say it, promotion, or they are more secluded, they are working more alone, they are more loners. So these are voices from South Sudan that very rarely people hear about them. This is also a very important issue that we have to discuss and put it as a plus to this site.
Yeah, because the region is so vast. And so maybe this is a good time to talk about the jury and how it works. Gabrielle, you've observed it from Arles, and you're actually on the jury. So maybe both of you can describe the different jury members, because we tried to pick people, you know, whether women, men, younger, older, with different regional specialties.
Yeah, I think first I will talk about it better than me, but I just adding or emphasizing something, that the LEILA website, the idea is not to present classic titles of Arabic literature. We felt that you can find information about classic titles. So the idea is focusing on lesser known and also lesser translated titles. So the idea is really to present titles who are maybe not translated, not even translated in European language, or translated into one or two language, but deserved, according to us or according to the jury, to be translated more. So, yeah, Persa.
Yes, this is also one of the points that need to be tackled. That books suggested are not, for example, we don't suggest books by Nagui Mahfouz because it's very famous, or of famous Arab writers who have won very prestigious awards. They don't need that. But we give visibility to people who we trust that they write very well, but they are not in the spotlight. They're not in the news so much. As far as the versatility of the jury, it's true that we are 12 people from 12 different countries. Each one has his background, his influence, his studies, different studies. Of course, we all have the same and the common interest, which is Arabic literature, but each one has his own readings from university times, or even earlier times. And as you mentioned, Olivia, for example, Italian translators are more sensitive to the colonial era of Italy and in Libya, so they choose from Libyan writers more often. I was born in Egypt, so I'm very prone to the Egyptian literature, and also Lebanese, as I have friends in Lebanon. Other people choose from the Maghreb or Syria or other countries. So this is a versatility, a kind of versatile jury, and this is I think it's a plus, because we choose different things. We discuss them, of course. We meet at certain points and we discuss them, and together we decide among the suggestions. Each one may suggest 100 books, or 50, or 20, but we all decide on the last ones that they were put in LEILA, which is very, very touching for me.
Of course. And so yeah, basically to talk about the 10 new books. What's during? Yeah, no, we'll see. So yeah, it was in Arles during a week in 2023, December 2023. 10 of the Atlas residency. So the idea was to bring together 10 members of the jury. Each member had 5 proposals, and then during a week they gathered in Arles at the Collège International des Traducteurs Littéraires and discussed together their titles to end up with a selection which was representative of the richness and diversity of Arabic literature, and to get a kind of a balance in the short list. So we have a long list and a short list, and then we decided to add those 10 new titles based on this short list the jury made together during a week in Arles.
It's a collective work.
Yeah. And so depending on funding, of course, there'll be several iterations of these juries, and we hope to keep adding books to the website. This morning there was a very interesting panel on translation, and so perhaps to keep on with the importance of translators, Persa, can you tell us, for example, how you go about choosing a book for a Greek publisher or for the Greek market? Like, what is your criteria? How do you decide this book will be good for this publisher, and how do you present it to a publisher?
I take into consideration 3 factors. First of all, the quality of the book. If I don't like it, then it's not. But it's not enough, because many books I loved and they were excellent, but they didn't do well market-wise. And it's a pity, because they were jewels, really, and they went unnoticed. So first thing is a good book, a good theme, a theme that touches me, first of all. But then I also think of the possibility of the possibility of promote. In what way should I promote it to touch a bigger audience? Because not everyone may appreciate my choices, for example. And discuss things with the publishers, depending on the quality of the books he or she is publishing. It depends on his titles, what kind of titles he or she is interested, and being honest about the results. For example, I have many times suggested excellent books, but I said they are not commercial books. You should take that into consideration. So many times they are deterred by this, but I have to be honest. So here comes the help of funding to be able to help those small publishers that have the eagerness and the willingness to publish books that are not commercial, that are not easy to go about or to go around. And so there are always factors that we discuss. But basically, if something touches me really, then I fight for it. Sometimes I give my translation for free.
Don't tell that to other translators. Gabrielle, do you want to say anything about the pitching of to publishers in France, or
try something? No, I think one thing which is important is to in France not a lot of publishers read Arabic, obviously. So translators are really important in this role of bringing new titles, and there is really a huge effort to make to change the view of Arabic literature in France, because I think for many years publishers have been focused on novels or books as testimony of the Arab world, of Arab society, of Arab reality. And so the work is really to put forward books and to present them as a piece of literature and not a testimony on the Arab world. So this is one of the challenges as translators to do. Yeah.
What you said also made me think of when I spoke to the Finnish translator Samsa. He was saying that often publishers will choose difficult literature coming from the Arab world, so that people see it as being super intellectual and not that accessible. And he was hoping perhaps to be able to translate more accessible literature, because of course that exists as well. And I'm thinking of a case, the publisher Pairini just published a book by Shadi Lewis, who's an Egyptian writer. And in a way, his book is that. It's incredibly accessible. It's literary fiction, but it's also hilarious. It's funny. So it's not one of those sort of soul-searching, tortured books that some people imagine are the only literature coming from the Arab world. Yeah. So before... Before we open up to questions from the audience, perhaps you could just describe maybe one or two of your favorite books that haven't been translated or that deserve to be translated.
Okay, I will speak to you about the one I'm currently translating, which is also chosen from LEILA project, which is called the Book of Disappearance, Sefr al-Ikhtifa, of a young Palestinian writer, young بالنسبة لي يعني in my yes, in my perspective, very good writer. She it's a book. It has some futuristic elements in it about what's going to be like if this or that happened, and she builds the whole story on two aspects: an imaginary one and a historical one. And this is an excellent combination to me. The language is very easygoing. She's intellectual, but not that what you mentioned, very heavy language. It's the book itself is intellectual, but the language is very simple, very accessible to readers, even younger readers, which is one of the pluses of the book, because it can be read by teenagers and even younger readership. And I'm very excited to work on it, and I hope I'll be done with it by the end of July, so it can be published.
No, I just wanted to say the book has been translated into English, yes. And it won a really big prize. I can't remember what prize it was, but do you remember?
It was a big prize,
yeah.
And the translator is a very famous writer. Yeah. So we go back to what we are saying, that the translators are either writers, or they are aspired to be writers, because it needs translation is not just relaying words, it's not just copying from one language to the other. It's a whole process. It's a creative process, and unless you have some principles of creative writing, it's very difficult to create in a new environment a book that was written in a different environment. And this is something many people confuse, because they think it's not word by word. No, it cannot be word by word. And that's why AI can never reach and can never have the ability to reach the standards of a human translator, I think.
Yeah, I'll present you quickly a book which is a collection of short stories. I've read a few stories of this book, Catalogue of Private Life, by Najwa bin Chatwan. So to go back on Libyan literature, which I find very interesting. I'm currently discovering. In France, there is the most famous Libyan author, I think, Ibrahim El-Kouni, which has been translated during the 80s and 90s and has been, I think, a bit forgotten now. His books are not always available in translation in France. But I feel like there is a new generation of Libyan authors and very interesting books being written. So two of Najwa's books will be were translated into Italian recently, but not this one. This one is a collection of short stories which I find very interesting because short stories are quite important in the Arab world, in Arab literature. And we know that it's sometimes a bit difficult to get them to be published in Europe. Publishers are sometimes a bit reluctant to publish short stories. And this is also, I think, one of the challenges to make this effort to present because it's quite an important genre in Arab literature, which I find really enjoyable. So this is a very Najwa bin Chatwan is a really witty. Can we say witty in English? Yeah, and funny author, and I really enjoyed her stories.
So I think we have time for a few questions. Are there any questions in the audience or from the audience?
Hi, I would just like to ask if you see there's much appetite from the readers in Europe for Arabic crime literature or Arabic detectives and this kind of thing.
I think it's quite popular in. I mean, you mean in the Arab world or in Europe? From my perspective, so from France, I think there is quite an interest. I've seen recently a new book published in the Série Noire collection from Gallimard, from an Algerian author. And I spoke about that with another publisher working at Cambourakis, because I was reading also another Algerian crime novel, and she was very interested. But finally, I mean, it didn't work out. But so yeah, there is definitely an interest. Yeah.
Yeah, we are more traditional, I think. We need to change mentality as far as the choices of themes. But younger translators are coming up. I'm sure they will be able to suggest this kind of. I'm very old now to suggest such titles, but in the near future, yes, maybe.
Yeah. I'm just adding, it's not related to crime specifically, but to the question of genres, because I think in the Arabic literature, genres such as we'd say fantasy or science fiction are quite important, and I think it's getting. I mean, in France there is a quite recent publishing house which is called Hikaya, so written story in Arabic, who is devoted to science fiction in Arabic and fantasy in Arabic, and those are very important genres in the Arab world as well. So I guess there are quite a lot of interest in these areas.
I just wanted to mention that we always talk about books to film, but film can also create an interest in books. For example, the recent, I think it was called Cairo Confidential, and there was a series about, I think it takes place in Algeria, but about, it wasn't filmed in Algeria, but a series on Arte, the Franco-German TV, that's a crime series, and so that can also create an interest then for these books that do exist but haven't been translated.
Hello. First of all, thank you so much. It was so enjoyable. We come from Turkey, from Istanbul, a publisher in Istanbul, and I'm a writer and also a translator in that publishing house. I was curious about like what are the limitations of the project about like from European countries, and we don't even know ourselves if we are a part of it. But if we want to be a part of this project as the publisher or as writers. To like wanting to translate, what should we do, and do you think like, because in terms of context and what you said about translation, like word by word, we would have like so much context together, like going together as readers in Turkey. What are the limitations, and what do you think we should do to be a part of this project, or is that possible?
For the moment, the project is just Arabic, to providing Arabic literature to European languages.
Yeah, Arabic to Turkish, I was asking. Yeah.
Possibly later on, yeah. But I mean, but for you as a Turkish publisher, if you want to read a text in a European language, you can find it on the website.
Yeah.
So in other words, you can find something from Arabic on the website that you might want to publish.
And if you want to like take action, like is there a contact, or what should we do?
Yeah. There are contacts on here as well as translator contacts.
Okay.
So the rights holder is on there for the book that's suggested, as well as a potential translator.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think we have a question.
Yeah.
Can we have one last question?
1 minute.
1 minute.
We don't have a lot of time.
Hello, just I will add that this LEILA, you will discover all the books there. Then for the Turkish or another country language, you can use Sharjah, all the grants for any other languages is there. The LEILA will be the main tools to find the Arabic literature. Then you can use the grants not only for European level, but all the international level. Turkey is included.
Thank you very much to everyone for coming. Thank you.